So I've given it more thought, and I think we actually need to add a column for each of these fields here, so hours, minutes, and seconds, because if we go to our activities controller, we're calculating the duration based on those values anyways. And that's usually, you're not really supposed to do stuff like that in the controller. At least that's how I understand it. Stuff like this usually should be happening in the model. And in addition to that, when we go to edit an activity, since there actually isn't an hour, minute, or second column, that means we have to like reverse engineer the duration and then set the hours, minutes, and seconds in here. And if we had columns for that, it would just happen automatically. So what I'm going to do here is clear this out. And we'll just add a column for each of those to our activities model. So we want to do Rails generate migration, add hours, minutes, and in seconds to activities. So we'll do hours, integer, minutes, integer, and seconds, integer. Hours, spelled that wrong. So, integer, close that space there. Okay. And while that's running, I actually want to do in the activity test, what I want to go ahead and do is we should actually do a test for this, which is should calculate duration. And for this, let's just do, so at activity dot distance equals, we'll do 10, but we have to set a unit. Miles, or actually, no, I'm getting it all wrong. Should calculate duration. We want to do activity subdue hours. We'll do 1 minutes. Let's do 30, and then seconds. We'll do 15. So that should be 1 hour, as we know, is 3,600. 30 minutes is 1,800 seconds, plus 15 seconds is, so 5,415. So 5,415. So what we want to do is assert equal that number with, oh, we have to save this too, so activity.save. And then we do activity.reload dot duration. Now that's gonna fail because we don't actually have those columns yet, but I want to keep this here because we want to make sure that we can still calculate duration. So now, also you're probably wondering, like, why did this take 5 minutes for this generation to load? I'm just on kind of an old computer, and I think that plus running QuickTime in the background just making it super slow. So hopefully it's not nearly as slow for your computers. But just figured I'd acknowledge that in case anybody was wondering. So now I'm gonna go do Rails DB migrate. Oh, and once again I had a spelling issue, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and delete this migration. And generate it again, but this time I'll spell it right. So activities. Actually, instead of just guessing. Yeah, so we get that right. So run that again, and then we'll do Rails db migrate. Cool. So that's good. I think everything else. Oh, you know, we'll probably have to do a few other tests. So, because we want it so. Because we have a test for. Oh, actually, let's test a few other things. So we want. So, hours should be between 0 and 99. So let's just do, and then assert not activity.valid. We'll do like a couple of these here. Then we'll just do like 100. Actually, you know what? I don't really care. I get like someone can put in whatever they want. So this really should just be hours should be a positive integer. But for minutes and for seconds, we do want them to be between 0 and 59, and that's just because time is base 60 for those things. So minutes should be between 1 and 59. Well, let's do, I guess I can just do 0. So we'll do -1, but we want to change this to minutes. And then we'll do 60. And let's just do this again, but swap out minutes with seconds. And that should be good, but if we run these, so if we go Rails, or actually even before I do that, we have another test in here. Should have distance if duration. Well, you know what? This might be fine because we can set that. We can set the distance before, or no, it'll be. I guess that won't pass the validation, so. Activity test should have distance, or I'm gonna say hours, minutes, or seconds. So do hours or hours, minutes, because we're not actually setting the well, I wonder if we can do, because all we really care about is the what's set in distance or in duration. I just want to see, like, so there's also before validation. I wonder if we can do the callback. What I'm getting at here is we're going to set the duration programmatically based on hours, minutes, and seconds. And we want to do it with a callback. And I guess we could do it before validation, and then this would be okay. Like, we wouldn't have to rewrite this test. I don't know, let's just do that. See what happens. So, activity, let's just do before validation. And we'll do calculate duration, which shouldn't exist yet. And then if we go down here, let's stub that out, but let's just make sure these our tests are failing. Yeah, so these are all failing. And these are the most recent ones we wrote. So that's good. That way we can know like when this thing is actually done. So if we go to our activities controller, we know we already have the logic in here. So what I'm going to do is just copy this. And actually, I'm going to just get rid of this completely because that's going to mess things up later. So if we go back to the activity, paste this into our method, we're just going to clean it up a bit. So we can just change this line to self.hours. And we actually don't have to do 2i on that. And then self.minutes. Get rid of this 2i because it'll be passed as an integer, I'm pretty sure. And then get rid of this. Self.seconds. And then for here we just do self.duration equals calculated duration unless the calculated duration is 0. So let's isolate that test right here. So where is it? So 81. Let's just see if this passes. All right, so that passes, but then the rest of these are going to fail. So let's go in here and validate. So we can kind of copy a lot of this. So for hours, we want only integer and greater than or equal to 0. And then for minutes, only integer greater than or equal to 0. And then there's also another one. I think it's just actually less than or equal to 59. And then seconds, only integer, it should be greater than 0, it should be less than 59, and it can be nil. So let's see if our test suite passes here. Cool, that worked. I just want to check, and again, I'm gonna write a test for this later, but let's see if this works end to end. Like if I fill out the form, is it gonna do what we hope it does? All right, so I'm gonna make a new activity here, and we'll say, well, let's see if the validation works for the dir. If I leave these blank, is it gonna yell at me? It should. Please add a distance or duration. So then if I do, I went for let's do a 10-mile run. Let's just kind of do what we did for the test. So it was 1 hour, or no, we'll do something different. So I'll say I went for 1 hour. I guess I'll just leave it at that. Does this work? Cool, but actually it didn't. It did not calculate the duration, and it did not calculate the pace. So why is that? Oh, because, and this is why we gotta really write a system test for this, so that way I don't have to go ahead and do it manually. If we go to activities controller, I gotta whitelist these things. That's the problem here. So, and we actually don't want duration in here because that's gonna be calculated through everything else, through the hours, minutes, and seconds. I'll just do a new one just to be totally sure this works. So 10 miles, for 1 hour. It should be 6-minute pace. Awesome, that worked. I guess the last thing I should do is on the form for these. Oh, okay, it even has the min and the max set up. I might actually just remove that. Someone can say they ran for 1,000 hours if they want. I don't think I should really stop them from being able to do that. So let's just commit this real quick. I think this is a good place to leave off. And actually, before I do that, does this persist? Let's just see. Cool, so see, now it's persisting 1 hour. So this is good. That's really the way I should have done it in the first place versus having these basically be like pseudo attributes off the model and then calculate it through the controller. That isn't really the Rails way to do it. And I was trying to just reduce the amount of columns on this table because I figured if you have a duration column, then you already kind of know how many hours and minutes and seconds that particular activity is. But then what happens is you lose the ability to easily like add these things to forms and calculate it the correct way. So it's okay that we're doing it this way now. So let's just add all this. Do a git add, git commit. And we'll just say add hours, minutes, and seconds columns to activities table. And we'll go ahead and clear that and push that up.